Hey everyone! Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my stories. I never imagined that a single careless sentence could unravel everything we had built together. It's strange, isn't it? Spending years loving someone, sharing beds, meals, birthdays, quiet mornings, and in one moment, one slip of the tongue can make it all feel like a lie. My name is Claire. If you asked anyone who knew us, they'd tell you my husband Daniel, and I had the kind of marriage people admired. He was steady, thoughtful, never loud or dramatic. I used to joke that he was the calm to my chaos. But I guess even calm waters can drown you if you don't realize how deep they run. It happened on a Sunday afternoon, a day that should have been simple. I was in the kitchen, talking to my sister on speakerphone, while making coffee. Daniel was upstairs fixing a leaky faucet, or so I thought. My sister Megan had been asking about us, about how things were between Daniel and me. I remember sighing, even rolling my eyes. "It's fine," I said. I don't feel that spark anymore. He's a good man, but sometimes it feels like I'm living with a friend, not a husband. I didn't intend for it to sound harsh. It was just me being honest in a moment of exhaustion. But then I said the one thing I'll never forgive myself for. Sometimes I wish I'd married someone who made me feel alive again. I laughed nervously and quickly changed the subject. Megan didn't reply immediately. She probably sensed something I didn't, because Daniel had quietly come downstairs just in time to hear everything. The silence after that wasn't loud or angry. It was hollow like a vacuum. When he finally entered the kitchen, he looked normal. No yelling, no confrontation. Just Daniel holding his mug, his expression unreadable. "Coffee smells good," he said softly. My heart skipped. I prayed he hadn't heard, but there was a weight in his tone that told me otherwise. That night, he didn't sit beside me on the couch as usual. He sat across the room, scrolling through his phone. No small talk, no questions about dinner. The distance wasn't physical. It was something deeper, something I couldn't name. I told myself I was imagining it. I went to bed first, hoping he'd join me. He didn't. The next morning, I found him at the kitchen table, dressed for work earlier than usual. The same mug now cold. His eyes met mine in a way that twisted my stomach. "Claire," he said, "do you ever wonder what it feels like to be enough?" My throat tightened. I wanted to tell him he had always been enough. That what I said wasn't real, just frustration, not truth. But once words are heard, how you take them back? How do you erase the image they create? He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He just stood, kissed my forehead, and said, "I'll see you later." The click of the front door felt like the first crack in something I couldn't fix. In the days that followed, he wasn't cruel. Not at all. He was gentle, almost too polite, like strangers trying to remember kindness. He still did the dishes, still asked about my day, still folded laundry. But the weight of what I'd said hung between us, silent and suffocating. Every night, I replayed that moment. My words, my laugh, the silence. The more I thought about it, the more I realized it wasn't just what I said that hurt him. It was that I said it to someone else, not to him. Guilt consumed me. I drafted messages, apologies, even considered a letter. But every attempt felt hollow because deep down I knew Daniel didn't just need an apology. He needed to believe my words weren't true. And I wasn't sure I could promise that anymore. Daniel never brought it up. Not that day, not that week, not even the next. But the air between us shifted. He smiled less, spoke softer, looked through me more than at me. It wasn't anger. It was quiet disappointment. The kind that doesn't shout but suffocates. I noticed small changes first. Sunday breakfast stopped. Our tradition of pancakes vanished. The garage, once cluttered, was suddenly meticulous. Even the way he said my name had changed. Less warmth, more restraint. I tried to bridge the distance, sitting near him on the couch, pretending to scroll my phone. He didn't pull away, but he never leaned in either. It was like knocking on a locked door, hoping someone inside still cared. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. "Daniel," I whispered, "we need to talk." He didn't look up. "About what?" "You know what," I said, voice trembling. He gently closed his book, set it on the table, and met my eyes. About how I wasn't enough. The words hit me harder than I expected. That's not what I meant, I said. I was venting. I said something stupid. He stopped me, calm and distant. You don't say things like that unless you felt them, Claire. Maybe not forever, but long enough to believe it. I wanted to scream that it wasn't true, that I was frustrated, that marriages have phases. But the truth clung to me. I had lain next to him, wondering if our quiet, predictable life was all there was. And I hated myself for it. Tears burned my eyes. I love you, Daniel, I whispered. He nodded, almost sadly. I know you do, but love changes when respect fades. That night, he slept in the guest room for the first time. I heard his steps fade down the hall. Days passed, weeks even, and we went to the motions, work, dinner, small talk, but it felt like life in the shadow of something once alive. Friends invited us out. We made excuses. My sister called. I didn't answer. I couldn't face what I'd broken. One Friday, he came home later than usual, standing in the doorway with a folded piece of paper. I found a new apartment, he said. My chest sank. What? I whispered. Daniel, please? I'm not angry, he interrupted. I just can't live in a house where I'm a reminder of what you settled for. His voice didn't shake. I did. Don't do this, please. I made a mistake. I was stupid. He smiled faintly, eyes tired. You weren't stupid. You were honest. You just didn't mean for me to hear it. I reached for him, but he stepped back. You're a good man, I whispered. I know, he said softly. That's why I'm leaving before I forget how to be. And just like that, he walked out. No yelling, no slammed doors, just a soft fade of his footsteps into the night. Months have passed. The house is quieter than ever. I still make 2 cups of coffee out of habit. I still sleep on one side of the bed. I replay that moment over and over. How different life might have been if I'd stayed silent. Or better yet, told him how I truly felt before resentment hardened into apathy. Words are cruel. Once spoken, they can't be unheard. They echo, reshape, and haunt. Daniel heard mine, and everything changed. The one truth I never wanted him to know wasn't that I had doubts. It was that somewhere along the way, I stopped showing him how much he mattered. And by the time I realized it, he had already stopped waiting to be loved out loud.